everybody, welcome back. Just to review, we've been exploring poetry for about 2 weeks now, and last week we talked about sensory details, we talked about alliteration, repetition, onomatopoeia, and form, or how the poem looks on the page. So we're going to pause and review really quick. The first 3 bullet points on this slide are things that you've probably already done before if you've been following through with last week's lessons. So the first 3 were when you got either a sticky note or you got another pencil or something and you found in your poems that you've written so far a sensory detail that you've written. You found sounds that you intentionally included in your poem, and you found a place where you made a decision about what your poem looks like on the page. So you may have highlighted or underlined or marked somehow these already in your writing. If you haven't done that yet, then you're going to have a bit of a longer pause where you go back and find that. The new one that we're adding today is trying to find a place where you used repetition. So what sounds did you choose to repeat, or why did you choose to repeat those words in particular? I know my video is kind of covering up one of those words a little bit there, but find a place where you used repetition, and then think about why you chose to use it there. Was it random, or did you intentionally put it there for a reason because you wanted to create a sound for your reader? So go ahead and pause and do that now. And now that you're back, we're going to review our notes about poems. So these are all of the things that we've covered throughout our lessons. We learned about sensory details, right? What we see, what we hear, smell, taste, and feel what's happening. We learned that some poems rhyme and some do not. We learned about the length of the lines. Some poems have short, some poems have long, some poems have short and long lines. We learned that poems could be about anything. We learned about writing about an object as if it were a person or had person-like qualities, called personification. We learned about repetition of beginning sounds, which is called alliteration. And we already covered the shorter and longer lines. We learned about stanzas, breaking our poems into separate chunks, if you will. We learned that some of those stanzas have the same number of lines. So, for example, if you had 3 stanzas, maybe they each have 5 lines in each stanza. We learned that a poem's shape can help tell the reader what it's about, right? The poem Egg, shaped like an egg. We learned about repetition, creating the same sounds in our poems, and we learned that people can include words that sound like what the poem is about. Whew, we learned a lot. So today we're going to hear a new poem, and it's called Over My Toes by Michael Rosen. So first I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and then we'll read it together. So go ahead and close your eyes. I mean it. Really close them. And try to imagine what's happening in this poem. Over my toes goes the soft sea wash. See the sea wash. The soft sand slip, the soft sand slide. See the sea slide, and the soft sand slap. The soft sand wash over my toes. You can open your eyes now. Now we're going to read Over My Toes by Michael Rosen together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Over my toes goes the soft sea wash. See the sea wash, the soft sand slip, the soft sand slide. See the sea slide, the soft sand slap, the soft sand wash over my toes. Now I want you to pause and think. What is this poem about? And what does this poem sound like? And how did the poet create that sound? So go ahead and pause here and think about those answers. Now I have a couple possible answers. You of course may have come up with different answers than this. It doesn't mean your answer was wrong. These are just possible answers that you might have said. So one of those possible answers is that this poem could be about being at the beach with your toes in the sand and water. The poet uses alliteration by repeating the s sound. You might have said, it's like you can hear the ocean with the s sound. Or the repetition in the poem reminds me of waves crashing up and down on the beach again. That's one that I could tell. Kind of feels like a wave going shh, right? So today we're going to continue to write poems, and I'd like to encourage you to think about the sounds of the words and try to include repetition to help readers imagine what your poem is about. We're already here at writing time today. So for writing time, as usual, it's about 20 to 30 minutes. I really encourage you to try to stick with that time, okay? Whether that means setting a timer, writing down what time you started and what time you stopped, trying to reduce the urge to go and grab a snack right now or go to the bathroom right now. Really just sit and focus for 20 to 30 minutes, okay? So you have a lot of freedom in your writing time today. You actually have complete freedom in what type of poem you choose and what you want to write about and where you get your inspiration. So you don't have to do one of these types of poems today, but you can if you need help getting started, okay? So today, my suggestions on poems that we've learned before, types of poems, were poems about an animal or another living thing that makes noise, writing a poem about an animal, writing a poem about the weather, writing a poem about a feeling, a poem about an object, or writing a poem about anything that you choose. So this is any type of poem, but the one thing I encourage you to do is use some of the things that we've learned, right? Whether it's repetition, onomatopoeia, alliteration, sensory details, writing something in a form, try to use something that we've learned throughout these lessons to practice at least one of those skills, okay? And that's it. I can't wait to see what you write. I really hope that you're sharing your writing with your classmates if you can, with a friend, with someone you talk to on the phone, with a family member. I've loved reading these so far in all of the documents that you're sharing to me. Remember, you don't have to share your document to me every time you work on it. You only need to share it just that one time, and then I have it forever, okay? So I can go in and I can leave comments as long as it's on editing mode. I can go in and do that. If you have it on view only mode, I cannot add a comment. Just note to self, okay? All right, go bees!